Hey guys, welcome back to the OrtoTech Garage. My name's Keith. Today we're going to be talking about air filters. I know this seems like a simple subject. Everybody knows how to put an air filter in. Not so quick, guys. I can tell you I've seen a lot of mistakes made installing air filters. I'm talking about mistakes that have almost cost people their engine. I'm talking about mistakes that have definitely cost them some money in the diagnostic field with drivability problems, things like this. So it's really important we go over some of this stuff. I want to give you all these tips and tricks. I want to make sure you're putting your air filter in correctly. And your engine is a big investment. Air filter is the primary source to protect that investment. It's going to remove all the dirt and debris that could enter into your engine and cause some wear and some damage there. So important subject here. I know it seems a little boring, but I'm going to teach you some stuff today that you've never heard before. We're going to get right into it. Let's go for it. Your air filter is serving several functions for you. In addition to filtering the air and keeping your engine from wearing prematurely, it's also providing you with proper fuel economy and proper engine performance. If your air filter is clogged, you're not going to be getting the same fuel economy or engine performance that you would normally be getting with a clean air filter. So it's vitally important to your engine for several reasons, important to your fuel economy, and want to make sure that you guys are checking this properly, changing it at the regular intervals. I would recommend you check this at least every time you do an oil change. You might need it every 10 or 15,000 miles. It really just depends where you live. But go ahead and inspect it as regularly as you can. I'm going to show you how to do that. It's very simple as long as you're following my tips. All right, here's my first mistake that I see commonly is just using the incorrect size air filter. These air filters, they come in all kinds of shapes and sizes as you see what I've got here on this display. But sometimes the differences in these air filters are not so obvious. Obviously, you got a round air filter and a square one. Those are pretty easy to identify. This is not going in the box that this fits in. But sometimes you'll have air filters that look very similar, but they're not the same dimensions, okay? Now, these are obviously not even close, but sometimes you'll have them where there might even be a 1/4 inch difference. Maybe the depth is not right on them. These are all signs that you've got the wrong air filter. If you have a gap around your air filter of even a 1/4 inch, you're just letting air bypass the filter. So it's really important you take that air filter out, you match it up to your old one, stack them on top of each other, look at them from all angles. We want to see the height, the depth, the width, all of those things. Make sure the rubber seal that goes around the outside also looks identical. Okay, so it's not as easy as just pulling it out and stuffing the new one in. We want to inspect that air filter carefully and match it up to your new one. Make sure you're putting the right stuff in there. Mistake number 2. Installing your air filter upside down. So another one that sounds pretty simple, but this is a really easy mistake to make. I've seen this probably the most common one is the air filter just fitting in upside down. There are some things on some of these air filters you need to look for. On this particular one, I want to show you, it has a corner on it that has a point, whereas the other ones are rounded. The reason for this is the locating section of it. This has a mating surface inside the air box that this fits into. So if you take this thing and you put it in upside down or backwards, it may go in there and you're probably going to pinch the corner of it, but it's not in correctly. So you want to make sure when you're putting these in, you're not putting it in upside down. I know it's very difficult sometimes to know which way is up and which way is down, but generally speaking, this one in particular, if you see the bottom of the air filter here is a little bit taller than the top, that usually means this is the filtering side. This is the dirty side. So they want to give you the biggest media portion here to capture dirt. Just like on maybe this air filter, you can look here. This is actually the dirty side on here, and that's going to go towards the open air, where the other side is going to go towards the intake duct into the engine. So inspect these carefully. Make sure you're putting it in the correct way, not upside down. Use these little locating tabs that you might see. There might be some other styles on there. There's all kinds of air filters out there. Inspect them carefully, like I told you in the previous section. Make sure you're putting it in correctly. All right, the third mistake that I see very frequently is not cleaning your air box out. So once you pull that air filter out, you got to look inside there. You want to make sure there's no debris in it, okay? So this side of the air filter can collect just about anything off the road. All kinds of things get sucked in there. I've seen not only leaves and dust and debris, but I've seen mouse droppings in there. I've seen a bird's nest in there. You would be surprised the things that are in there, and the ductwork also leading into there. So I would recommend you guys take a good hard look in there. If you need to, stick a vacuum down in the air box and suck all the debris and dirt and droppings, whatever else might be in there. Get some cleaner, clean out the air box, make sure you got no restrictions in it. and get everything looking tidy. Also, while you're cleaning the air box, there's going to be some flat mating surfaces probably where the rubber seal of these air filters have rubber on them. These rubber seals need to seal up against something. Those surfaces should be wiped down and clear of debris. Okay, so make sure you spend some time cleaning the air box out before you put everything back together. The fourth most common problem I see is reusing a damaged air filter. So the previous installer may have put it in there and rolled the seal on it, pinched it, folded the corner over. There might be a tear in it. There might be a blob of grease on it. Whatever it is, if you take an air filter out of your car and you notice there's something wrong with it, please do not put it back in. Okay, let's get a new air filter for it. They're not very expensive. Pick up a new one, put it in. Let's make sure we're not putting any damaged air filters back into the car. The fifth most common problem that I see, I might not even put it on number 5. I probably should move this to number 1. This may be the most common problem, not replacing your air filter when it's needed. Okay, I get people that come in the garage all the time. We go pull their air filter out. It looks like it's been in there for a decade. It's ridiculous. There's grease, there's stuff in there, there's mud, you name it, whatever is on it. I can't believe the car is even running properly when I pull some of these air filters out. So make sure you're checking your air filter frequently, like I've told you earlier, and changing it at some sort of regular interval for you. So if you're changing your oil every 5,000 miles and you want to do it every third oil change, I think that's pretty smart. It helps you remember that you've changed the air filter. These are not expensive and it's simple to do, something you can do on your own. You don't have to take it to the auto mechanic. Get them done on a regular interval. Number 6 on my list. This is an odd one. I've seen it several times. You may not see it, but it certainly creates a nightmare for the mechanic to figure out what exactly you did to the car. And this one is leaving your rag inside the air intake duct. Okay? Not only is it bad to leave some debris on the opposite side of the filter before it gets sucked into the engine, it's even worse to put it on the side after the air filter going into the engine. You guys would not believe this. I know it sounds crazy. You probably haven't seen it, but I've seen it enough times where it's worth talking about. If you're wiping your air box out and somehow you let this rag get its way into the intake duct, this is just a nightmare to figure out. It's almost impossible to find. We're going to go through some diagnostic work on this thing. It's going to cost you a fortune just for us to figure out you left a rag inside your air intake duct. So please be extra careful when you're cleaning out that air box. I'm glad you're doing that, by the way. But if you're cleaning out your air box, make sure you remove the rags you're using to clean out the air box. All right, number 7 on my list. This one gets a little tricky, depends on the car. It's leaving things disconnected that are connected to the air box. There's a lot of cars out there. Matter of fact, this filter right here is out of a Toyota. This is probably the number 1 most common mistake on this particular air filter in this particular car. These Toyota products, they have vacuum lines attached to them. I see people pull the air box up, they pull the vacuum lines off, they don't put them back on. There's electrical connectors for solenoids, evaporative emissions controls and things that sometimes connected to the air box. You guys are unplugging things and you're not plugging them back in. You get in your car, you start it up, you may have a check engine light right away. It may take a little bit of time for that check engine light to come on, but either way you end up in my garage and we have to diagnose the problem. So I want to make sure you're not making this mistake. Make sure if you've got anything that's connected to the air box, connected to the intake duct, anything you might disturb in order to get access to that air filter has got to be connected back where it belongs. All right, so just double check around your work area after you put your air filter back in. Make sure there's nothing that you might have knocked loose. Get it all connected and get back down the road. All right, number 8 on my list here. This one is easy to make a mistake on and difficult to know you made a mistake. So the air intake duct that connects from your air box to your throttle body or to your engine is made of rubber. Over time, this rubber gets very hard, it gets very brittle. You're pulling up on the air box, you're flexing this rubber hose. It's thick, it's about this big around, maybe a little smaller. And if you're bending on that and you pull a little too hard, especially on an older car, you're going to crack the intake duct. Now, you may not break it all the way. This makes it even more difficult to find. In addition, when you do break it, it's going to be on the bottom of the air duct. So you'll pull it up, the crack will happen on the bottom, you won't see it on the top, you put it back together, but we've all of a sudden got a drivability problem. We're bringing in unfiltered air, unmetered air a lot of times, into the engine. The computer can't calculate it, and your check engine light's going to come on eventually. So I want to make sure when you guys are disturbing all that stuff, you be extra careful with the air intake duct. If you have to take it off completely, take it off completely. It's better than breaking it. And these little pieces of ductwork are not cheap. Some of them could be 150, 200 bucks pretty easy. Be extra careful, especially knowing if you have an older car, that they can get hard over time, a little more brittle than they should be. They're not as flexible as they would be when they're new. So let's be extra careful with that as well. All right, we're getting close. This is the penultimate one, number 9 out of 10. Not connecting your airbox properly. There's a variety of things that can go wrong here. Let's just talk about a couple of things. You could have missing screws. You could have clips that aren't attached properly. You could have cross-threaded bolts. There's all kinds of things that can go wrong here when you're putting your air filter box back down. Make sure you're starting those screws by hand. Don't use an electric tool to start them. We don't want to cross-thread them. If they only go in a half a turn and then tighten up, they're not really securing the air box properly. It gives us potential to have unfiltered air entering the engine again. That defeats the purpose of putting a nice air filter in it. So make sure all your screws go in nice. Make sure all of your screws go in. 3 out of 4 is not enough. 4 out of 4 is perfect. If you have clips on there, make sure the clips are engaged properly. You don't have broken tabs on them. Don't leave one off, one missing. If you need to go to the parts store, you need to go over to your dealership and pick up another clip, put one on. We need the air filter on there properly. Another thing that usually happens with installation, some of these air filter boxes, they have little tabs on the box that have to go in and underneath something. So what will happen a lot of times, people can't get them in and underneath, so they sit on top. Now you've got half the air box is sealed and half isn't. Okay, so it's really important that you check in these things. Make sure your air box is installed completely flush, sealed all the way around, and all the hardware is on it. All right, I'm going to give you one more on my list here. This is certainly not the entire list of things that I've seen gone wrong, but these are the 10 most common things. The last one here I'm going to give you is over-oiling or not oiling your reusable air filter. So some of you people out there, you're putting in the high-performance air filters. I don't want to name any brands out here, but if you have one that's reusable, that you're not going to throw in the garbage, it needs to be cleaned, it needs to be dried, and then it needs to be properly oiled, okay? I see a lot of these filters come in, they're dripping with oil. You just emptied the whole can of air filter oil all over the thing. This is just a bad idea all the way around. The other thing I see is people are cleaning them, which is great, but they're not putting any oil on it. So the oil is there to have a light film to trap some of the very fine dust and debris, okay? So not only that, if you're putting a performance air filter in and you over oil it, you're really just putting a restriction back into the filter. You're not helping the performance of your car at all. And also if you take your air filter and you don't oil it, you're just allowing extra dirt to enter your engine. So be extra careful with these reusable filters. Like I said, completely dry before you oil them. A very light application of the spray oil on it, and you should be good to go down the road. For those of you that are here that have never changed your air filter, I'm going to give you a quick demonstration. I just want to walk through the process. I want to show you how simple it can be. Don't be intimidated. I know this list sounded long and might even sound a little bit scary. It's not. Let's just follow my tips. I'm going to go through this demonstration. You're going to see all the steps and you'll feel confident afterwards. We're out here in the garage. I've got a great demonstration vehicle here to show you an air filter replacement and also to discuss with you some of these things that we've already talked about. So make sure you have a rag handy. I like to come in here and just wipe the top of this air box off. I don't know, it's just a little thing I do. Make sure it looks pretty good when I'm done. And I also wanted to show you right away on this vehicle, we're missing one of the clips on the air box. So this box is actually loose and it only has one clip on this side. This is one of those things I was trying to teach you here earlier in the video. We got to have both clips. When I opened this air box up, I wanted to make mention of another one of these mistakes. When I lift this box up, you're going to notice that the air intake duct over here is flexing. Now it's designed to flex. It has this little bellows on it, a little accordion looking thing, but it can only flex so much, and as it gets older and it gets harder, it's going to be more susceptible to cracking. Now when I pull this up, you're going to see the bottom part is the one that's stretching, and that's where the crack can happen. And with a vehicle like this that has a mass airflow sensor on it, this is used to calculate the air going into the engine. The computer wants to know how much fuel to spray based on how much air it's measuring. If we've got unmetered air coming in through this air intake duct, the computer's not going to be able to calculate that properly. It's going to eventually turn your check engine light on. In addition to that, you're going to be drawing in some air that hasn't been filtered. We don't want to do that to our engine either. Another thing I wanted to mention here is I got these electronics on here, this mass airflow sensor and the harness for it. You may have to disconnect something like this when you're doing an air filter, not necessarily on this car. This is an opportunity to make a mistake and not plug something back in, end up with a check engine light. When I open this box up, I've got more to show you here. I'm going to take this air filter out, and in the back of this air box, I have 2 locating tabs. There are tabs on the box itself and slots that they fit into. When we put this air filter back in, if those tabs don't go into the slots first before we lower the box and clip it, this air filter is not installed properly. Also, this air filter has the rubber seal on it. And if this rubber seal comes off for any reason, the corner of it peels off and you pinch it in the air box, this is not going to be installed properly. You're going to leave room for gaps in there and you're going to have unfiltered air entering your engine. Check your seal around here. Make sure everything's installed properly. Another example of one of the locating tabs on the air filter to make sure you've got it in correctly. This one is difficult to put in wrong. It has a very particular shape to it. It's not square, it's not rectangle. This is only going to fit in the box one way and actually close and latch. What the heck was that? You're not going to believe what's in this air box. It's the like and subscribe button. Don't forget to smash those and honk that horn for more notifications. The next thing I want to show you is the debris that we've got inside this air filter. Okay, the lower part of the box has got some leaves and dirt and dust and bugs in it. That's all stuff we want to remove. If you have to suck it out with a vacuum, that's what you do. If you can wipe it out with a rag, that's great as well. Another thing I wanted to make mention of, this seal right here needs to be cleaned. We need to wipe this flat portion where the rubber on the air filter is going to be sealing between the two halves of the box. Make sure those are nice and clean, free of debris and dirt. Make sure that any plumbing that you have connected to the air intake duct, if you have to remove it, make sure you put everything back with all its clamps back in the proper place. When we reinstall this filter, we want to make sure we line up the shapes, the locating tab, make sure it sits flush. We're going to install those two tabs back in the slot, lower the box into place. It should fit nicely and not rock around. Then we're going to go ahead and lock the tab up. Now this one I already told you is missing a tab. We're going to have to let this client know that he needs a new tab on here. One is not enough. All right, my friends, that's all I've got for you on air filters today. I hope you're feeling very confident that you can go and replace your air filter without making any of these mistakes we've talked about today. If you have any interesting stories you would like to share with us about some things you've seen in an air filter, maybe problems you've had installing an air filter, go ahead and drop us a note down in the comments below. We love hearing from you guys. If you're enjoying our content, I really appreciate you watching us and checking out this next video we've got here for you. We'll see you next time.